No, it's May.
May.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May. How many times did you hear that on May 1st? It was so stupid.
I'm like, oh my God, this is like the 12th time I've heard this today. All right, so here's a question for you. What time is brunch?
I actually went to brunch for like the very first time in my life. Had bottomless mimosas, and we went at 11 o'clock.
How have you survived with no brunches in your entire life? Do you not have a grandmother?
I do have a grandmother.
She's never taken you to brunch?
No, my grandma doesn't eat out.
Dude, my grandmother is super Catholic, like way Catholic. And it was like our thing, like after Sunday church, when we went to visit her, like in the summers and stuff like that, like out in Scottsdale, Arizona, brunch. It's what we did, okay? So we had some friends invite us to brunch the other day, and like I had kind of put a poll out, like, what time is brunch? So if you're watching this, hit me down below. What time is brunch? I want to know. Because the most popular times that came back was 10 and 11 a.m. Okay? Like, yeah. I would say 7 out of 10 people said 10 or 11 a.m. Okay. Guess what time our friends invited us to brunch?
8 a.m.
2 p.m.
What?
We were sitting here thinking we were doing like 10 or 11, like not feeding our son. Because we thought we just have like a pig. Yeah. And like we finally were like, hey, what time are we meeting? And they're like, oh, 2 p.m. And we're like,
wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Like, I mean, that's Linner, right? Like that's technically Linner.
Yeah. I mean, well, we would call that supper here in the South. And then dinner is after that.
Wait, what? Whoa. Dinner isn't the same thing as supper for you?
No.
What?
Like it would, like a late lunch. Like you could have supper at like 3 or 4, and then you could do dinner later.
My mind's blown right now. I don't even know words.
Let's go back though to brunch, which is like literally breakfast and lunch combined, or before lunch being after lunch, which is usually associated with like a noontime-ish in modern culture, being at 2. That doesn't even make sense.
No, it makes no sense at all. But your whole supper and then dinner thing, it's giving me flashbacks to Lord of the Rings with like the secondsies, like the second lunches right now. Like I don't know what you Southern people are doing down there, but it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't know where this supper thing came from, being separate from dinner. That's dinner.
You got to eat multiple times a day.
Crypto, let's move into our pick of the month for May. What would be the one short story or novel, the one thing we read in May, where you're like, hey, friends, audience members, you really need to consider this?
You got to go to the post office.
Why I Live at the P.O. by Eudora Welty. Okay.
Hands down. So good.
Now, mine is definitely not Song of Susannah, though.
We'll do the ratings there in a second.
Oh, okay.
What is your pick?
Okay, my pick, I think I'm going to surprise you with this one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Bee Honey by Banana Yoshimoto.
That was a great story. That's solid.
I don't know what it was. After our talk, too, I just kept thinking about it. Such a interesting story about loss and like stuff where I'm like, man, I don't know if I compare those two. And the more and more people that like comment on it, they're like, no, I would compare those two. It really kind of made me reevaluate, I think, things that I hadn't thought about in terms of like how you equate loss in your life, and how when you have really traumatic things happens, it just colorizes your things, like my green walls behind me, and just trauma all over the walls. That's what that story was.
Hey, that's an important part of life. I think that's one of the defining characteristics that people hone in on is, happiness and loss, or positive and tragedies. And that's something that can vibe a lot of emotions. And if you're going to get that strong of emotion, I think that it's a great pick. For me, it was the comedy. I'm always going to go that way.
Oh, yeah. But, dude, that story was fantastic. I really did like Theodora.
You can't go wrong with either. I think we're in agreement in that. We could even switch our answers, and I'd be fine with it.
For showsies, I would be more than happy to choose Eudora Welty. All right, let's do our rating system to give the peoples an idea of how we're rating these and whether we'd recommend it for you. So this isn't our ratings, okay? This is our, hey, if you're like, like, man, I want to check out some, like, I ought to read some literature or some classic short stories, we're going to give you our opinion as to whether you should check these out. So numero uno, top of the list, go out, buy this, spend some money, is Collect It. Get a special signed edition if you can. This is a very important piece to our lives, and we think it would be for yours too. Next up is Buy It. This is the idea that, paperback, hardback, Kindle, however you traditionally buy books, you should go buy this one because we think this is something that you would really enjoy. Up next is Backlog It. Head to the library, check out some secondhand stores, pick it up used when you see it, but don't go out of your way. This is something that you probably, should consider reading at some point in your life. Second from the bottom is the Skip It. This is something where we'd say, this might not be for you. You should really check into it before going into this. Bottom of the line is Trash It. That is something where it's just like, you're probably going to find some problems with this one. This may not be for a lot of people. Make sure you do some research before checking it out.
This is for nobody.
So up next, we have novels. We're going to do our 2 novels this month. First up, Dead Souls. Crypto, what would our audience need to do with this story? You probably said backlog it.
I said not backlog it. I said skip it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Stick to the short stories that you're used to. I'm going all music theme tonight.
You are. Now, I am going to go with...
Backlog it.
Yeah, I think this is a backlog it. I know this is described as a masterpiece, and maybe I am missing out on some of the terrible fun. I did enjoy it, but I don't think this is something that you need to read, as opposed to maybe... like if you're like, hey, I want to start reading some Russian literature, I don't think this is the starting place for it. It was funny, it was entertaining, but I don't think you have to read it.
Better novels out there.
The first one.
Better Russian novels out there.
All right, next we have the Dark Tower series, Book 6, Song of Susannah. Crypto.
Yep.
Do I get dirty with this one?
How devious.
Warned me I was going to hate this. So I feel like that speaks to your recommendation that you're either a trash it or a skip it. It's a series, so it's kind of like you're buying into the series, so it's kind of a weird thing to rate.
Yeah.
You said trash it.
I want to say trash it, but I think realistically it's just a skip it. Or, excuse me, maybe not. Maybe it's a subcategory in between skip it and trash it. Just watch our video, or watch somebody's video, or just read the wiki summary, and then you'll get from book 5, which is amazing, Wolves of Kala, and you'll just get to the end and get to the tower, and you don't have to waste 6 hours of your life reading this book. I'm guessing you're saying skip it too.
No, I said trash it. Trash it.
Oh, yep. Did you? Okay, trash it? Yep. Full trash it?
Yep, we're trash it. I think this was, the cuts for this arc didn't make sense to make this the novel. It's a weird one to rate, because if I'm looking, I have to look at it in the purview of a series, and it makes sense in the series.
7-book series.
Yeah, it makes sense, and this is information that needs to happen, but like, how do I rate this one off? And if I'm really truly rating this one off, like, would you just read and pick up Song of Susannah? No, it's crap. All right, moving into comics and manga, Chew, which was just a me and Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative effort.
I'm a terrible friend and didn't get to watch that video yet, but you love this series, so I'm going to say collect it just off of knowing you.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely kind of like a black, dark humor, mature, so definitely not for the younger eyes, but it is something that is hysterical. Plays with stereotypes, plays with just your expectations. Very, very well done. Now, up next, we actually have our first comic that you joined in on. Now, we're not all the way through Blackest Night, where we've only done, I think, Sinestro Corpse War. I'm halfway through the Corpse War, but I've done Rebirth up to that. You're going to say what? Buy it for the, at least up through Corpse War?
Oh, Sinestro Corps? Yeah. Oh, for sure. Buy it. I love it. It's so cool. I love getting back into comics too. You know, I don't read them all that often anymore, and I am more of a DC guy. But I love. I'm an idiot. We are reading DC. Last video of the night.
I'm just gonna do this one. I'm leaving that in. I ain't cutting that. You're living with this. You're living with this.
That's fine. I love DC. I love getting back into DC is what I meant. And it's really good. I love the artwork. It's so cool. All the different panels feel very unique, and it's a great story. And I've never read Blackest Night. I got it here in front of me, so I'm ready to jump into this. So I'm just waiting for you guys to get caught up because I'm done with Sinestro Corps.
Cool. I'm looking forward to finishing it. It's just, dude, my copy is like 800 pounds. It is so uncomfortable to read those omnibuses. I don't know how I used to collect just the omnibuses. I don't know why. Like, they're super awkward to read. Now, up next was just a me and my son read, actually. So, Amazon World Day is kind of like this day where they kind of give out some free books. The idea is promote reading from cultures that aren't yours. And
That's awesome.
I grabbed a children's book, actually, from a female writer from Argentina, called Some Days. Maria Wernicke. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's
Wernicke?
It's a children's book, but it's a very subversive way actually to talk about death and loss, like the death of a father. I don't think my son got it. He kind of loosely understood, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Now he's 5, 6, so probably a little bit older, but as a little bit older, you probably aren't reading picture books. So the target audience, I wasn't really sure I understood, but maybe if you are someone that has gone through the loss of a father or a spouse and your kids are kind of contemplating what that means, maybe this is a book to consider to maybe have some of those discussions. So I thought the artwork was really, really gorgeous, but I don't know. Do you want to guess my ratings or?
I'm guessing collect it. Sounds very useful, or at least buy it.
No, I think actually backlog it because it's a very specific use. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit strange. Like for me and my son, we couldn't connect over that. I'm just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But I thought it was well done for the intent for which it may have been made, if that makes sense.
Do you think that's specifically because maybe your son doesn't understand the concept of death yet, or just you guys weren't into it, or just
he's really weird about death? Like he gets the idea that when you die, you don't come back. But I mean, I don't know if he fully understands that because, like, we also talk about our controllers, our remote controls dying. You know what I mean?
And put new batteries in.
Right. Like, so I don't know if he fully gets the concept of it. So, maybe
you guys haven't lost a pet yet, so
backlog it plus, I guess. In a sense. Well, he's not going to care what our pet. He doesn't like our cat. He says he's like Shadow.
Bye, Shadow.
I don't like it. Yeah, he's just gonna be like sweet. Like, he does not like our cat. All right,
making him a sociopath in the works.
Let's move into our short stories. We have first up actually a fan submission, which was a meditation on language evolving with a hat tip to Edgar Allan Poe. We've got Spring Break by John Crowley. You rated that, you had one of those sweet and sour relationships, I feel like, with it.
Yeah.
But how would you recommend that to someone? I feel like usually you go down on those. Like when you flippy floppy, I feel like you go down. So I'm going to say you said backlog it on that one.
I'm going to surprise you on this one. And I think this is a great buy it one that can be coupled with Poe as a great teaching tool, or somebody that can read something that's modernized. Because Poe is not outdated, but it'll never go out of style, but it isn't as cool or hip as some of the terminology and the verbiage used, I think, in Spring Break.
I was so confused.
You probably said backlog it then.
No, I think a buy it is a good rating for that one. I thought.
Oh, cool.
I thought it was very intelligent,
cool.
The way it pulled off what it did. Highly recommended. Definitely.
So unique. I thought it was so unique.
It really was, and it's kind of sad because some of these short stories that we do, like the unknown stuff, like people are going to click on our Dostoevsky talks. right? Like that's kind of like our bread and butter for that, and Faulkner, like that's kind of our bread and butter for our audience. But then we do some weird stuff like Spring Break, John Crowley, weird in the sense compared to what they normally read. And it's unfortunate that they won't watch those because that is a very challenging and interesting piece. I would love to see people maybe open up to some of these. Up next, let's talk about one that's easy to open up to, and that's Why I Live at the PO, which was that's got to be the funniest read we had this month. Hysterical.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the funniest reads we've had in the last couple of months. I just felt that it was so... The zaniness was just crazy, and I think that everybody can relate to that, of having a crazy family dynamic or having a crazy sibling, or you are the crazy sibling, and then you could just laugh at yourself. And I thought that it had a good message, and I really enjoyed it. And anytime you make me laugh, I'm probably going to give it something positive. So obviously, I gave it my pick of the month, so it's a collected for me.
Yeah, I think it's easy to recommend to others that this is a collected as well, because you're going to get some other Eudora Welty short stories in whatever you do to purchase it. So easy recommendation to buy Eudora Welty. Very easily relatable. Now, up next, we have something that's not relatable, which is throwing a party over a dead body.
He was the life of the party.
Oh, life of the party. I get it. Oh,
dad joke.
The garden party you rated, it made you laugh, and you love recommending pieces that make you laugh. You rated a buy it.
Yeah, another buy it. This is a really good story. I loved that, like, how ridiculous people are, and be like, oh, this is what's important to you now? Like, somebody just died. And that says a lot about you. And anytime you can have introspective view from a story and make you question your own values, good stuff. I'm going to say that you said probably buy it as well.
It's one of those things that Katherine Mansfield, famous, maybe not so much. I mean, she's famous in the US, but more famous, New Zealand, obviously. But I don't think she's assigned as much, particularly in the United States. I would love, recommending it to United States readers. I think it's easy to recommend for younger audiences, particularly if you're teaching that. That it's one of those things that she writes a story where the themes aren't hitting you over the head. So going through it in a class, like, you can enjoy the story and then you can discuss it. In my opinion, I think it's easy. All right, up next
Great
we're going to do.
Tool. Yeah.
Up next we're going to do Bee Honey by Banana Yoshimoto. No, and I didn't talk to you about this. So we scheduled this before we learned about your fear of the B words, right?
Yep.
Is it acceptable that we did Yoshimoto's story here, or was the name enough to cause crippling fear? Like I'm the scheduler of this channel. I need to know, do I need to cancel further Yoshimoto stories, or was it not hard with, like, her name being Banana as opposed to the B word?
I just pretend like it doesn't exist, and I just go with the last name. And since I can't pronounce her last name, I just don't.
So is it acceptable to schedule this? Or, like, I need to know. Like, is this seriously, like...
This one was so unique, and I loved how it made me feel sad, sort of, and that's sometimes a good thing. So, I mean, I give this one collected, and I want to enjoy more of this.
And we're doing a year-long investigation into Japanese literature. We've already done a Mishima. We've done a Yoko Ogawa story. We'll leave a playlist down to our Japanese talks down below. But if you'd like to continue along, purchase the Japanese Penguin Book of Japanese Short Stories. And
I need to do more of them because I need to get better at it. So,
well, stay tuned for next month, buddy, because we got a good one for next month. All right, penultimate discussion. The Way Up to Heaven by Roald Dahl. A story that is very interesting in the way that it misleads the reader, I would say. It's one of those stories that when you read it twice, it unlocks things differently on a second read. You probably like the teaching aspect of it. I think you enjoyed the reading aspect of it. I could see you recommending it to a lot of people. I think you're going to recommend this as a buy it.
Definitely buy it. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending is it's so good. And you know me, if a story can make or break it at the ending, and this one definitely made it. Dahl killed it here. I love I love the ending of this, and again, such a great teachable moment. I would love to do this in an AP Lit class and just see their eyes widen as they get to the end of the story. And be like, "Mwah, my plan is coming together." I'm guessing you probably said buy it as well.
I think I'll give it a buy it as well. It's easy to recommend this story to people. Now, up last for the month of May is actually Afternoon by Ralph Ellison, writer of Invisible Man, more known for his short essays. We did his short story Afternoon, knowing that Buster and Riley have more of the story. This is just the Afternoon story. You said skip it.
I want to say skip it because I know that I was down on the story a little bit, but I did put in my wrap up that the story I feel is incomplete because there are more stories with the two young men. We need to read more of that. So I want to say backlog it if you can read all the stories. If you can't, if you're going to compartmentalize it like we did, then you need to skip it. So kind of a duel, depending on what you can read, how much time you can put forth. I think that is a determining factor whether you're going to backlog this or skip this.
And I think it's kind of unfair for us to rate it because we haven't read the other Buster and Riley stories. But in terms of recommending this as a solo piece, I'm going to play the more pessimistic role. I'm actually going to give this the trash it. Not because it just doesn't, I think, stand enough by itself that I think that I don't think it's worth without knowing perhaps the bigger picture, right? We perhaps missed out on so much. Like, watch this video go live and the people are like, oh my gosh, you missed that. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed it. Like, I haven't read the other stories. I apologize. I love catching and talking and discussing these things. This was a harder piece to discuss. I do love the slice of life thing. It wasn't, I think, worthy of recommending, of maybe bringing out some things, at least from my perspective. If they're there, I've totally missed it, and I apologize.
Oof, 2 trash its and 1 wrap up.
I know.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
I'm the optimist, too. What is happening?
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be... Oh, I can't do
crazy.
I can't. If someone else sends me that dang meme, I'm gonna strangle someone.
Do you know that one yet? I'm gonna teach you.
Cheese.
No, no, not cheese.
Oh, you taught me cheese. Where did you? It was one of our other videos. You taught me cheese.
Oh, and this night I need to go to bed.
I'm absolutely the grandpa doing that. Guys, go click that Discord link down below if you'd like to talk with us along with Christy Lewis and Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative. We are doing tons of read-alongs where, hey, stay tuned to our June TBR to find out what the next reads are. You're gonna like it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. You're gonna like it. Guys, we post videos every Monday and Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to join us on the journey. Una out.
Peace.